Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. This is here today because this is here today. And yes everyone, it is mail call time all the way from the US of A. This is the Ultralink that I backed up on Kickstarter and it is finally here. And this, all of you know, is the prototype that Mr. Gamble sent to me. And this was basically a gift from him and I'm very happy that he gave this to me. So once again, a shout out to Mr. Gamble of GambleMade for sending this to me to review, try it out, and I've been using this ever since. And I am a man of my word. I said that I would back it up, and so this has finally arrived. This is the reward and it is here. It is the full titanium version, and just to prove it to you guys as I cover up my personal information, there we go. It is the full titanium Ultralink. I chose the aqua color for the glow dot right there, and I also added on something. Yes, I got an add-on to this, so I'm gonna crack this open and compare and contrast the difference between this and that. I don't think that there's gonna be any big differences, but let's not make any assumptions at this point of time. There we have it. This is my GambleMade Ultralink that I backed on Kickstarter. This is the full titanium version, and I got myself an add-on which is an extra clip, but this one has a Mokume insert. Can you guys see that? This is beautiful. I know I don't handle patina well. You guys already are aware of that. But what I intend to do is to put some Renaissance wax here and here, because I realized after handling the original Ultralink that I had, I never actually touched the insert. It was always like this, and I would always just remove the clip like that, and then whenever I wanted to reattach it, I'll just have to push it in like that. So I never actually touched it, so I don't think it'll affect me that much. And yeah, well, basically Renaissance wax is gonna help me put a protective layer on top of this. So yeah, I thought I would get that because I wanted something a little bit more premium just in case. And if you're wondering why I actually got an extra clip, it's because I can actually have this clip on one pouch, one clip here on another pouch, and then I will have two of these carriages and I can use them any way I please. Okay, so time to compare and contrast. The first one I have here is an aluminum one. You guys know this is the prototype, so I'm gonna be a bit more forgiving, but I wanted to compare the prototype versus the actual retail version, or I should say the Kickstarter version. Everything about it is made in grade 2 titanium, except for the screws, which is the hardware, and the clip. These are made in grade 5 titanium. That sound itself is just awesome, and yes, you could see that it works perfectly fine. It feels almost exactly the same as this over here, just that this one feels a little bit, or sounds a little bit gritty now when you compare it to this one. You get a clean sliding sound every time you remove and insert the clip. Nice clean sound, versus this one, you got a slight gritty sound. Yeah, just wanted to share that. Let's look at the carriages now. So upon first glance, it looks about the same. Construction is almost there. Of course, the bar here looks a bit thicker as compared to what was on the prototype, so that should equate to a better strength. And you could see that the screws are a lot more flush. See that? Compared to the original prototype where it sticks up a lot. Now don't get me wrong, these were actually pretty well finished. Now Mr. Gamble himself does a lot of finishing on his own, and these I believe were at least deburred, but the screws here, yeah, you could see a very slight rounding on the edges, so they were not uncomfortable at all. But this one over here, the screws are chamfered. If you look really carefully, they are chamfered, so it's not sharp at all, and they look to be, yeah, they are Torx screws. Yeah, these are Torx screws versus these over here, which were hex screws, and these are a lot more flush in terms of height. So that's a big step up. Next, I really love the stone washing here. This plate here in titanium. I think this one is also in titanium. I'm not so sure. I mean, I can't really tell the difference just by looking at it now, but looks pretty darn good. The finishing here is really nice though. You could see that chamfering there compared to the prototype. Well, the prototype one wasn't finished that well, but in the retail version or the Kickstarter version, this is finished really well. And I really like the fact that there is a logo stamped in here compared to the prototype where it's just an empty slot. Now looking at the back, that's where it was. The logo is featured here on the back on the prototype, but on the retail version, nope, it's not. It's clean. I do have to say that the screws do stick up a little bit more here on the back versus the original prototype. So that's maybe a minus point, I don't know, but they have been finished off pretty darn well. It's not sharp at all, don't get me wrong, but you could still feel it. So some of you might find that a gripe, but to me, it just, yeah, it's not much of an issue in my opinion. The next obvious thing is the fact that this hook or the clip area has been tapered downwards, so it's a closer grip onto whatever you are going to attach this onto, whether it's going to be your belt or it's going to be your pants, your jeans or whatever. The prototype version actually had like this amount of space. It was basically parallel throughout. This one over here is tapering downwards and the spur is still there. Let me see. Oh yeah, the tension is pretty okay actually. That's not too shabby. Looks like I'm gonna have to put this on my jeans and see how this thing goes, but I think this is actually pretty good. Oh, you could see also that the spur has been finished off much better than what it was on the prototype. So let me just show you guys a close-up of the prototype. Look at the spur there. It is not rounded. You know, the corner over there is pretty obvious. I'll be very honest with you guys. This thing is so wide. I've never actually had it like damaging any fabric that I had or any of the belts that I put it on. So yeah, I mean, even though it is a sharp, I won't say sharp, I gotta say a hard corner, like a hard edge there, it really didn't pose much of a problem. But when we compare that to the Kickstarter version, you could see that it is nicely rounded, albeit that it is almost touching the surface or the back surface of the carriage. But you could see a very slight space in between. Tolerances on this are pretty damn good, I gotta say. And this has about the same kind of flex as any general knife pocket clip. So I think this is actually going to be pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I think that's aesthetically the main differences. Let me scrutinize it a little bit more. Jimping on the sides are done pretty well also. I mean, this one here clearly is aluminum, but this one here is titanium. Finished off pretty darn well. Dinging it very much so far. Good stuff by GambleMade. I mean, high quality, you know? Now the prototype clip here is in aircraft grade. I believe it's aircraft grade aluminum, but the one that I backed was grade 5 titanium, and I gotta say it feels honestly the same. I gotta tell you, I mean, to my uneducated hands, this actually feels the same. So I'm actually quite impressed with the quality of aircraft grade aluminum. Was it even aircraft grade or was it aerospace grade? Wait, that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? But I gotta say, it's really well made. Certain areas look like they are thicker as well, like on the top of this lanyard slot or this loop here, the keychain loop. You could see that on the aluminum version is slightly thinner compared to what is on the titanium version, so it could be tolerances due to the material itself, or it could be that GambleMade decided to give it a little bit more width here just so that it could be stronger. I'm not so sure. But the arms, they look the same basically. Even the notches, they made the same. One to one. I like it. Really well done. Now I'm going to compare these two because this one was the add-on. Yep. Basically it is the same. And this Mokume looks like it has some kind of a layer on top of it. I've not seen Mokume being finished in such a way before. It looks like there's this transparent layer on top. But it is really Mokume because you could still see the layers in here. That's interesting because I've never seen Mokume in this sort of a finish before. But all in all, I'm very happy with this, and I want to give a shout out once again to GambleMade. Really good product. I mean, I backed this up for about 120 odd US dollars, and then I got this Mokume version, this extra clip, for about another 56 or 54 dollars, I can't remember, but I thought it was a steal. And now that I have this carriage as well as this one, courtesy of GambleMade, and I have 3 clips, I could just put the 3 clips onto any other pouches that I have. So I could have one clip here, 2 other clips on different pouches, and I could just change this carriage anywhere I want to, you know? Yeah, but well, I guess the next thing I gotta try is to put this on and see how this fits on a belt, on my jeans or whatever, and then I will have to add it onto the video. So I guess I will kind of officially end this video here at this point of time now. So thank you so much for sharing in this slice of my life, everyone. I hope that you found this video informative. I believe that GambleMade will be having this offered on the GambleMade web store in future, so I will put links in the description box down below to the GambleMade web store. Stay tuned for that. I don't know when the release of the Ultralink will be on the GambleMade web store. However, those of us who backed it up on Kickstarter definitely got a better deal, because you know, on Kickstarter things are generally offered at a slightly lower price point. You know, it's got to be a perk of some kind, right? If you like the content that I'm putting out, I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel, and make sure that if you do, click on the notification button. Make sure that bell has been clicked on, because if not, you won't be notified of any new updates or uploads to the channel. And if you want to support the channel beyond that, you could also consider becoming a patron of mine. Yes, I run a Patreon page, links in the description box down below as well, and I would like to thank you in advance if you are considering to do that. 4, 3, 2 Okay, update time. So what I did was I stretched this out a little bit, so now you guys can see, wait, let me just remove this. So now you guys can see that there's a little bit more space between the clip and the carriage. All I did was just wrap up this area with a microfiber cloth and then use a pair of needle nose pliers and then just pinched it, stretched it out a little bit. Then I sent pictures of this with this space and in its original form when it was almost touching, as well as pictures of the prototype version over to Mr. Gamble, and he said that yes, he actually pinched this down. Initially I thought it was because of shipping, you know, sometimes envelopes can get easily piled one on top of another and this would be pressed flat, but Mr. Gamble said that he was the one that made the call to actually push this all the way down till it was almost touching. And the reason why he did that was because he received feedback from those who were reviewing the prototype version that it was a little bit too loose, this was actually slipping off the belts pretty easily, so that's what he did. And if you guys want to, you can stretch yours out as well if this is a little bit too tight for your purpose. So he said that yeah, I did the right thing by stretching this part out, and it's really an easy job, and I'm glad that he made that call because I think it would be a little bit harder for me to, I guess, press this down rather than just stretching it up, because if I were to press it down myself without the proper tools, I might actually damage this area or maybe create a bend inwards instead, like a curve or a dent here, rather than, you know, pushing the whole thing closer. So that's that. And to end it off, I'm gonna show you guys a couple of the belts that I use often and then how the Ultralink fits onto those belts. So here we go. First, I have a fabric belt. I believe that you guys have seen this before. I wear this one quite often. It's a simple 2-ring kind of a belt tightening system, but yes, this slips on like that really easily, and then it doesn't fall out too easily as well. You can see that the spur is actually catching onto the belt itself, and usually on the side you don't actually have the Ultralink pressed against your belt. In fact, it should be kind of sitting floating like that, I suppose, just being pulled down because of the weight there. So when you lift it up, it's not easy for it to come out unless you lift up the clip just a little bit like that, and then you can slip the belt out this way. So that's how it works on my fabric belt. And I'm going to show you guys another belt of mine, and this is a leather belt that I wear on formal occasions, or slightly more formal occasions I should say, and it's a duotone reversible belt. One side is black and the other side is brown, and I'm going to show you guys how it fits. And because this belt is slightly thicker since it's duotoned, sometimes the spur rubs against the belt, but I want to show you guys that it doesn't really scratch the belt because of that nice rounding on the spur. So it sits like that. I'm trying to show this to you guys sideways, so yeah, maybe this would work. So it just slides in like that. Quite a bit of friction, but when you do that, can you guys see the slight indentation? That line in the middle there that the spur created? Yep, but this one is more secure compared to the fabric belt here, and that's because of the sheer thickness of this. So you can see that it sits on pretty well, very solid. So yeah, the spur kind of just hits the belt like that. Sorry I can't give you guys a better camera angle, but I figured that this is actually going to give you guys a closer look versus actually wearing the belt and then showing you guys how I put on and take off the Ultralink, right? So this would be a better, I guess, visual perspective, yeah. So in order to take it out, all I gotta do is just lift up the clip a little bit, and then once I get it past the initial part of the belt here, it's gonna slip right off, the same amount of tension that it took to put on. I'm taking my time because I don't want to just yank it out like that. And you could see this curved mark. Yep, that's the indentation caused by the spur. So if you guys are not too comfortable with you know, your spur actually creating indentations on your belt, because you know, maybe over time this might actually become permanent damage, I'm not so sure, but if you really are uncomfortable with that, then just either widen this, or instead of slipping it onto your belt and removing it this way, just use the end and thread it through like that. No damage. Yep. And yeah, I just wanted to update you guys on that, and that's it. Once again, thanks for watching, and wonderful product, Mr. Gamble. Very, very well done, and I'm a proud owner of not just one but 2 Ultralinks now. I'll catch all of you in the next slice of my life, and until then everyone, Gaga Boost.